I was born in the days of the samurai. Now I serve a new emperor. My claws rip through the flesh of my enemies. My flames blacken their bones in the name of the Reich. Through the baptism of blue fire, I was reborn his warlord, Hades. I am judge, jury, and warden of the underworld. I am the Okinawa Dragon.
I'm just an old patriot looking for one last ride. And superpowers don't mean squat against a made man in power armor. I am the steampunk savior, the soldered soldier, the alloy ally. Founder of the Armorers Guild, I am Clockwork.
My mama named me for a Greek titan. It was appropriate. Now that I'm free, I will take Mississippi back from the Grand Wizard. The Reich will fall. The flesh trade will end. I will die before I live another day in chains. I am the American juggernaut, the blue-collar brawler, the people's champion. I am Atlas.
Fuck you, Tony. Got a group of failures and they're all my friends. Got a group of drinks and the bottles never end. And the night's gotta rock, gotta roll, and they gotta do fun. In the heart of no mortals, babe, well, you're gonna get stuck. God save my Leo. God, wrong, check, running, oh!
Mic check. 1, 2. Where's the levels? There we go. And we're gonna start it again. 3, 2, 1. Thank you guys again for tuning in to Joint Narcissism. This is Tony Rager. And on the show today, special guest, Jay Sandlin. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Jay.
Tony, thank you for having me. Hey, this is Jay Sandlin from the Novel Comics. Check me out on Twitter at JSandlinWriter. And you can hear all the trailers for the Novel Comics first release at thenovelcomics.com. I think we just played the first one there. That was the Okinawa Dragon character.
Okinawa.
And as you heard, he's a very bad guy. He serves the Reich.
The Reich. Explain the
Reich.
Reich for the
All right, so, yeah.
The people who don't follow history.
Well, if you don't follow history, then it's okay, because I have an alternate history for superheroes. In my world, the Reich is the organization that arose from the ashes of Germany after they were beaten in World War I, called the Great War at the time. Back in the day, they reorganized under Hitler with his Nazi doctrine. In my world, they reorganized and rearmed under the worst of all the superpowered beings, people that I call outbreak babies. Kind of like the baby boomers, I've got the baby of the outbreak. Those are the people with superpowers.
The outbreak is sort of like your version of a genetic mutation or something?
Well, you don't know what it is. You could call it a genetic mutation. It's certainly passed down because there are inherited superpowers. But all you know is that in my world, you're either a humdrum, which means you have no powers. Mm-hmm. You're a latent, which means you have powers, but you don't know it yet. And you're an outbreak baby. And becoming an outbreak baby is not easy. You have to go through a great mortal peril. You have to nearly die, essentially, to have your superpowers manifest.
It's like an evolutionary trait that's supposed to save your species from dying off, and it's only unlocked genetically when you're about to die, right?
That's right, though I don't know if you could call it genetically. Maybe there's a mixture of some other factors that we don't know about. But yes, for all intents and purposes, you could call it. I would definitely call it a trait that comes out to save your butt before you bite it.
Yeah.
So we were talking before, you and I, about the series, and we said that if superpowers existed, there would be dictators, there would be jerks that would take advantage of the heroes.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's exactly what the Reich does. They essentially weaponize the superpowers in their one of the capital places of Austria. They've got underground labs where scientists called the Shapers biologically engineer superheroes and other beasts into being weapons for the Reich. And that's who the dragon is. The dragon is actually from the old days of the samurai. He was an old outbreak baby. Mm-hmm. And when Japan joined with the Reich, he volunteered his katana, so to speak.
Wow.
So he shows up and attacks Pearl Harbor in 1929 in my timeline.
Man, that's pretty fun to think about.
Well, when he shows up to attack Pearl Harbor, he meets the strongest of the outbreak babies from America.
Okay.
And that's he's got a trailer of his own. That's for the blue-collar brawler, the people's champion, the African Adonis. That's Atlas.
Okay.
Atlas, he's the strongest in the Western Hemisphere because obviously the leader of the Reich is going to be the strongest in the other hemisphere.
Yeah, the Eastern Hemisphere, yeah.
Right. So we open with, it's called Operation Triple Reich, and it's where the Reich decides to end their war with the Allies, so to speak. It's not really a spoiler, but it doesn't go so well for the Allies. We lose.
Okay. So I like that.
And that's where you open, really. That's the opening scene. I'm not giving you any spoilers. Yeah. The Allies lose. They accept what's called the Articles of Isolation, which sequesters the former United States in the Middle States. I think I asked you before, do you remember learning about MIMAL in school?
I do now.
MIMAL, it's the acronym for Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana.
Yeah. That's like.
So that's what's.
Is that Tornado Alley?
Yeah, go ahead. You know, I don't know because I live in Alabama. I live in the South, and then everybody says that we're Tornado Alley.
Yeah, it's like Texas. It's like Texas, Alabama, and then up. Like there's this.
It definitely passes through.
Yeah.
Tornadoes are the least of these people's worries. They're left in what's called the remnant states. They're all very poor now. They have to, rely on rations, and they've still got FDR as the president when you show up in the present timeline, which the story picks up in 1939 from there.
Does your timeline of history maintain fact, or do you alter it as well? Like does FDR die like he does in the world?
I guess we'll just have to find out. But yes, there are definitely some commonalities and some familiar faces on the scene. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And depending on how into history,
my bad.
well, good.
This is great for people like me because one, I'm a nerd. I like sci-fi. It's my favorite genre because I don't like reality. Who
does?
And then history is also one of my favorite subjects. So when you incorporate these things, it gets me excited because now I'm connecting dots and I'm like basically what I'm gonna throw my summary out there real quick is basically what you did is you created the alternate universe, right? You got superheroes, but it is in the realm where we lost and we didn't win. So this is where it gets good because now I there's no way I can try to predict anything in the book from that point because it hasn't happened yet.
Oh yes. And you'll see some secret identities. You don't know who is who. The dragon will show up to take my main hero. He's hanging out as a captive on a slave ship, and he stages a mutiny along with Atlas, the African Adonis. Okay. Dragon shows up to kind of put it down. And the ship is crewed by some of these shaped beasts I was talking about.
Yeah.
They're actually some tragic figures. They're funny. They're called the Pyrogs.
Yeah.
That stands for pyromaniac amphibians, pyro frogs. They're basically they're hunchback gypsy Romanian people who were taken from their tribes because they were deemed to be an inferior race.
Yeah.
They were augmented with green skin, warts, enhanced leaping abilities, and they shoot fire because they have an accelerant saliva. Because why not?
Why not? So do they lose consciousness?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's a big aspect, is that you lose your humanity as your superpowers are augmented by the Nazi. Well, I don't call them Nazis. They're the Reich.
Right, yeah.
As they're augmented by the Nazi shapers. They lose a lot of their humanity, their free will, and that's going to be a major theme, is losing free will as you become more powerful.
Do you think obviously you're the creator, but is that a byproduct of the genetic mutations, or is it an intended result?
It is definitely not the intent of nature to lose free will.
So it just happened, and then they took advantage of it.
It happens that they guided it in that regard. It's a product of superpowers-based eugenics and weaponization, in the sense that they wanted to turn the Outbreak babies, my superheroes, into weapons that they could essentially point towards a target and say, go. Yeah. That's what they did with Dragon, and that's what they did with the Pyrogs. So
that's amazing.
I hope you like it. The first book's going to take place over a variety of locations. Des Moines becomes the capital of the remnant states. That's where you have the government set up.
Okay.
In Des Moines, Iowa. It's going to have some scenes in Chicago. I've got a superhero group in Chicago called the Chi-Town Four. Consist of a cop, consist of a nurse with healing powers. There's also a group called the Armorers Guild, who like to hang out and drink and smoke cigars while making steampunk power armor to keep up with the superheroes.
That's so dope.
I've got a trailer for one of those characters. One of the lead founders of the Armorers Guild is named Clockwork. And Clockwork is pretty goofy. He's one of the original OG superheroes, and he kind of stands for like a Rockefeller type, or maybe more of a humanitarian money type guy. Bill Gates is probably who I compare him to. If Bill Gates lived in this world in this time, he'd probably be a lot like Clockwork.
Okay. Or Elon Musk, maybe.
Elon is an older man, probably. I still think of Elon as young in his prime. Clockwork's if you hear in the trailer, he says, "I'm just an old patriot looking for one last ride," because he may have a score to settle with somebody in the Reich.
Oh, that's how. Yeah, that's exciting, man.
Oh, thank you. I hope you like it.
I think I will.
We're going to have a fun time. We were talking a bit about the name of the novel comics. These are not comic books. These are traditional novels. Uh-huh. There is a graphic novel cover, and you can see the pencil sketch art will be released March the 10th. But the reason we call them novel comics is because they're released in issue batches. I call my issues chapters, and we'll release a few chapters at a time of the first volume, and so on and so forth.
Hell yeah, man. And then
because the way I see it, the story will go throughout the decades. It's covering 1929 to 1939 in this first volume. Then we'll go from there.
That's interesting. Man, that's interesting because you still got a whole lot to cover after that.
Yeah. What are all these? What's the communist scare, the arms race, the space race? I mean, we've got a lot to cover, and I've thought a lot about it. Yeah. I'll have hints in the very first chapter for things I don't have planned to come back to until maybe 20, 30 years later in universe.
Yeah. That's fun. I started to write a book at one point, and that was like 5 years ago. And then I don't know.
What was it about?
It's I originally this is the thing called parallel thinking, or remembering a memory as if it was your own, or a thought. I'm on a second one, but I started to write a book, a fictional character based on me, but coming from a rich, lavish background, but with the same emotional strife. And it was really good, but then I started to realize after I'd go back and read it, it was basically Californication. So I just dropped it. I was like, well, yeah, no. That's gonna be yeah. So I started on another one. It's a memoir, and I'm just
Memoirs of a podcaster.
well. This was leading up to this, yeah, because I had a pretty crazy childhood and stuff growing up, so I wanted to write about it. But I think I'm going a different route with what I want to do. I think the book will come as time goes by. I don't want to rush it, but like my end goal is to bring common sense knowledge and real life education to people, because me growing up I didn't have it, and now that I'm grown up and now I do have it, I see where having it could have made my life so much better. And that's why I podcast. That's why I want to do this stuff as a a career, because it'll provide financial stability and it'll give me the time to invest my time back into my community, because I feel like that's what children nowadays are missing as fathers, because fathers usually give us these skills, it's just,
we're both fathers.
Yeah, and as a father,
I feel that
what you want to give your kid, like the way you want them to see the world, how to handle situations, because I see it all.
I had great parents, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I tell you what, something you said about the education hit home. I had great parents, but they were young Earth creationists.
Oh.
So I was taught that the world was literally 6,000 years old, while still taken to, dinosaur museums. Cognitive dissonance overwhelmed me as a child, and I kind of, recognized, because I loved to learn.
Yeah.
But and I don't. Just to clarify, nobody in my family really believes this anymore.
What,
it didn't. Oh no, they know that. No, I'm sorry. They've kind of abandoned the young Earth creationism.
Yeah. Okay, I'm following now.
Yeah. Which, that being said, my mother is the only one that still attends this church that teaches it, where they paid, I don't know how much money. I know it had to be somewhere in the 5 figures. They paid for Ken Ham to come and teach in my town. And I use the term teach very loosely. Ken Ham being the director and founder of the Creation Museum.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a couple of that guy's videos. It was horrendous.
Well, he debated Bill Nye, of course. That's what he's and then he's known for building the Noah's Ark theme park.
Yes.
Which is supposed to be educational, he says, but there's an animatronic son of Noah that teaches the message of Jesus, which wouldn't even be accurate for the Bible, since Noah was so many centuries before Jesus.
Yeah, Noah, when he created the ark, was supposed to be like 600 years old himself.
Well, if
that.
it's going to really be accurate, I don't know if they're going to show the family incestuous reproduction. I don't know. But in any event, I was taught Noah's Ark was a literal story. Mm-hmm. But my mother doesn't quite, I don't want to say she doesn't care, but she doesn't think about those things a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, I told her, though, I'm like, I really wish you would think about giving your money. If you're going to make donations, find something that's not out to, find something worthwhile that's trying to do good in the world, like feed the poor.
It'll make a difference, yeah.
Because they were actually telling kids to miss school to come to this event. It was on a Monday.
That's terrible.
They said, miss school, tell your school that this is for religious reasons, which really demeans everything they're trying to do, because they're trying to say that they're a hard science. But then you're going to say, but it's a faith-based reason that you're missing. So either you're not science and you are indeed faith-based religion, or you're lying about it. So, either way, I don't see a positive reason.
Well,
but
for me, either way, it's all theoretical conjecture, theories, and making shit up as we go. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we weren't alive back then. There's no real historical text, no real factual historical text telling us what did happen. And that's important for people to understand.
What does
as in Noah's Ark.
Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, let's say Noah's Ark was actually an ark, but it wasn't the way the story was told. The story was told to keep people captivated, to keep people reading and listening and believing, so they had to pump it up. Now, I don't believe that we were that primitive back then. I feel like we're a species that grows to Atlantean type technology, and then we end up killing ourselves, and the few people left over are the ones left over to repopulate the planet, et cetera, et cetera. I have a lot of theories about a lot of stuff. But this
Man, that's so important to my book. We need to talk about that off the air.
This one, we actually have a real Noah's Ark up in like the Antarctic or something. It's a building that holds the genetic coding for everything on the planet. That could be a Noah's Ark. But if they tell the story like God sent out a message to every single animal, not every single, two of every species on the planet to come over and travel thousands and thousands of miles to the Ark, and then they're going to flood the planet. It just doesn't make sense. Now, what does make sense is maybe they were scientific. They saw the asteroid coming. It came, it crashed, it caused the Great Flood, and these guys were just smart, like, all right, let's get the genetic coding for all these animals and let's get on this boat, and we're gonna have to start over because it's gonna wipe out the human species. It's a good theory.
Now you sound like Titan AE.
Yeah, that was at Titan After Earth. That was a good one.
Yeah, good book. You tossed out the word theory, and just to clarify, when I talk about a theory, there's a layman theory and there's a scientific theory. And that was one of the most important things that I was not taught growing up, because I was always given the mantra, oh yeah, well, evolution is just a theory. Cosmology is just a theory. So is gravity.
Yeah.
In science, a theory is the best set of facts and how they work together to form an explanation for how the world works.
Yep.
So what I'm going to teach my son and what I want to instill in him is questions, not dogma, and theories, not absolutes, because everything we know could be turned on its head tomorrow.
Absolutely. Just like we just found out there's 7 planets like within our galaxy alone that is inhabited.
Are you ready to move?
Let's go. 40 light years is not that far.
So I like your theory about us growing to a point in society where we have to, I guess either die or maybe some of our ancestors relocated.
Yeah, it's very, very possible.
Maybe we're just now finding the 7 planets they looked at. Because how long have humans, let's just say in our current form, Homo sapiens, we've been around for how long?
Well, new evidence has came out to show that we have been around advanced technologically for over 12,000 years. Far further.
Oh no, not even technology. Just in our current, evolutionary state, physical state.
Hundreds of thousands, maybe.
Right, and you just said 12,000 is as far back as we might know.
Yeah,
so
it's not a lot.
And then you think about how much progress we've made in the last 500 years.
I mean, not only that, but look at the progress in the last 40.
Yeah, 40. So is it not, I don't want to say is it likely, I don't think I have any evidence, but is it conceivable even that at some point, and let's be generous, let's say we've been in our current forms for at least 100,000 years. I think it's actually longer.
Yeah.
But at some point in the 100,000 years, somewhere on the planet, because we live everywhere on the planet apparently, we survive anywhere on the planet.
We're adaptable.
Right. At some point in the last 100,000 years, could there have been a 2,000, 3,000 year span where we progress to the point that we are at least right now or more?
That falls into another one of my theories.
Yeah. Are we arrogant enough to think that we're the pinnacle of what humans have done right now at this point in time? I don't know.
I'd say the majority says yes, but I would say the intellectuals say no.
We have to say
the creative intellectuals. The people that
I think we have to say, I don't know, but I'm open to the idea.
As long as that's my mantra actually, is I don't know, but I do want to know. That's the way I live my life now. Now I base this. I think we came from Mars, because I've been like, I came up with this theory a long time ago. You know, they say that used to be life on Mars, and then, you know, something came here and destroyed all the dinosaurs like that. They say it was a
Was there life on Mars? That was Dr. David Bowie, right?
something like that, huh? No, but they released recent NASA photos that shows man-made structures on Mars. The pyramids of Giza, the exact shapes of the pyramids of Giza, but corroded as fuck. Same thing. And there was like a man. These photos were released from NASA. I talked about this years ago, and I have a theory that we did to that planet what we're doing to this planet, and that's just what we do as a species. We're like a terrible parasite that innovates, destroys itself. Some is left over. We innovate. We innovate to the point where our host can no longer withstand us, and then we're looking for other planets. Just like I say, maybe we did when we were on Mars.
Maybe we did.
Yeah.
That sounds like Agent Smith's speech to Morpheus in the first Matrix film.
Oh, really? I didn't.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Hugh, Elrond, the actor. Who's the actor? I love him. Hugh, the actor that plays Smith. It's killing me right now. Hugo Weaving. Yes.
Hugo Weaving.
Let me try to do my Hugo. He says, "I found out you're not even mammals. You are a disease, and we are the cure." Something like that.
Yeah. That's the.
He's
that's
man.
scary. Go ahead.
He's a freaking brilliant actor. I love that guy.
He did a great job in that movie.
He does a great job in all his movies. He's probably the best actor to ever pull off a movie under a mask, and I'm talking about V for Vendetta.
Oh, he's that character?
He is V. He is, yes, V for Vendetta. He's V. And see, you don't even realize that was him because he became V so completely.
That was such a good movie.
Yeah, I need to watch that again. I haven't seen it in years. That movie Natalie Portman says that movie saved her career.
I bet it's still relevant to today.
I think it's even more relevant today. Remember the 5th of November.
Yeah. It's super. I've been on this political tip ever since Trump became president. I've been like ultra micro focusing my attention on all politics, and it's crazy, man. A lot of politics nowadays for Americans are about feelings and emotions. That's it. There's nothing factual, statistical. It's just how they feel is how they run their politics. The alt left is what I'm referring to.
Well, I forget the labels. That just scares me.
It is scary.
I would propose that the best societies are those who live based on facts.
Yeah. And
I would like to believe as many true things as possible and as few false things as possible.
Yes. But
I think if we live that way, that's we can't know. That doesn't mean I know everything that's true and false, but that means that if I'm living my life believing that antifreeze is a good, refreshing drink, I may not live as happy of a life.
Yeah. Dude, I used to work at a grocery store. The number one sold item is soda. Soda is so bad for you.
I'm trying to cut it out, and I've cut it out many times before, but I always go back to it.
It's okay to have it once in a while. Everything in moderation is just I'm super healthy. I try to be super healthy. But I mean, I drink whiskey, I smoke weed, but that's not really that bad for you. What else? Fast food here and there. I eat a ton of food at night. Before I go to bed, I eat like crazy. I have this whole little thing going on, and it doesn't make sense because they've been telling us, oh, don't eat after 7, don't eat 3 hours before bed, blah, blah, blah. I'll eat and then fall asleep immediately. And I've been dropping weight. My cholesterol went down. All I did was cut sugars and cut carbs for the most part. Like
Congratulations.
I'll have like a Powerade, you know what I mean? Or I'll eat a burger, but I don't go crazy on it. And it significantly improved my mental state, my physical state. And it is tough if you've been, like, you're from the South. Before I moved to California, I lived in Indiana and Ohio, and my mom's from Kentucky. So.
Whoa, sorry.
Yeah, I grew up on a very southern diet. Biscuits and gravy and soda and Kool-Aid with a half a bag of sugar in it. and I know I can feel the difference. That's why I like to preach the knowledge that I'm given, because it's the best thing you could do for someone to share knowledge. It's the most.
Well, now in California, I don't know if you have these drinks. They're called a sun drop. Are you familiar with sun drop?
Sun drop, is it like a wannabe Mountain Dew?
Hey, don't you speak of sun drop that way.
It had that commercial with that girl dancing.
I don't remember the commercial, but it is along the line. It's probably closer to a mellow yellow, but I love sun drop. I've tried to cut the sun drops out, maybe down to like one a week, and I think I'll be a lot happier with that. Yeah, one a week's fine. 1 or 2 a week, it ain't gonna hurt you. I'm just always a lot happier when I'm drinking water alone.
Yeah. I don't even drink coffee. Like, I'll drink a cup of coffee here and there now. Like, I used to be 2 Monsters a day, a cup of coffee in the morning, burritos, a lot of corn and a lot of bread, and I just put on the weight. I'm wearing a
that'll do it.
Yeah, and it's good. And the reason why I like spread is because my mental clarity is so at point. I've never been this mentally clear in my life, and I just want to share it with the world. I want everyone to be mentally clear, you know?
I lost... Go ahead.
I was going to say...
at my heaviest, I lost 60 pounds since then.
What was your heaviest?
Well, for me, my size and my weight, now my heavy was right at 200 pounds. I'm supposed to be more like 140 pounds.
Wow, I average 200. That's like a healthy weight for me.
Yeah, I'm like 5'6", so.
Oh, 5'9", 3 inches. That's about average for weight, right? 3 inches shorter, and you should be around 140, 150, right?
Yes, I'm always in between those. I've felt a lot better.
My healthy weight is 170, but I don't think I'm gonna get there because I'm at 195 and I feel good, and I'm not super skinny, but I'm not fat at the same time. Like, I want to be good, you know? I don't want to be too extreme on either side. I just want to be like healthy.
Hey, if you feel good, that's good. Yes. If you're happy, I'm happy.
How many other shows have you done since you're doing your little tour?
All right, so I've been on some great shows. I'm going to be on, I don't know what day you're going to air this, this week. Oh, okay. Wednesday, I will be on the Naked Porch podcast. Check them out.
Great guys.
I've already been on, great guys. Talked with Ray and Danielle. I've already been on Geek Vibes. You can look that episode up. And one of my favorites has been the Not Historians podcast. Check them out. The Not Historians, we had a researched topic that we discussed. It was a series of radio serials in the 40s about Superman taking on the KKK. Have you heard about that? It's called Superman versus the Clan of the Burning Cross.
I'm writing that down.
It's all on YouTube. You can listen to it for free, but check out the podcast because we summarize it a lot easier than the 16 episodes you would watch on YouTube. It's a fun time. I'll send you the link when we're done.
Yeah, for sure.
But great guys there. But we talked a bit about the racism in the 40s, which really led to a lot of the things I'd studied for the book. Because race is a big issue. The Reich, the villains, have a chosen race. And they consider, they also have their own religion called the Church of the Norsemen.
That's the Nordic, right?
Yes, they do have a Nordic church because a lot of the ideas of the Nazi Party, and this is going to get some flack because people love some Vikings, but the Austro-Hungarian Empire was largely inspired by the racial purity views of the Nordic people.
Yep.
And the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which fell, it's early 20th century. Adolf Hitler was born under the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It didn't last long in his life, but he was heavily influenced by, even though he was born in Austria, not everybody knows that, he was so heavily influenced by their ideas, he considered himself a full German.
Wow.
And that was where he gets the idea of racial purity. And that the rest of the world is only fit to be the slaves of the Germans.
That's such a weird idea. How confident do you have to be confident about that theory?
Well, I mean, I've read the book. The definitive book they've said on the life of Adolf Hitler is The Rise and Fall of Adolf Hitler by William Shirer, fantastic historian and U.S. diplomat back in World War II. Heard Hitler speak in person many times, talked to him personally. He writes all the ideas about Hitler, and a few of them that are so relevant today. One in particular is he writes that for many, there was a lot of surprise when Hitler took power and began, targeting the races. He began dividing the races, searching out minorities. Lots of people were surprised, but they should not have been, because he was only doing what he said he was going to do all along.
Yeah, and he explained the political platform on which he ran those ideas to the masses.
Whew. So Hitler joined the Nazi Socialist Party, and you can read more about this on my, I have a BuzzFeed site, buzzfeed.com/jsandlin. I just posted an article about the 4 deleted scenes of Adolf Hitler.
Oh.
So you can read some random Hitler trivia there, but he joined the Nazi Socialist Party on assignment from the army. Because he was in the army at one point. He was having to observe them. He said that they weren't a threat to Germany, and then he joined it and became the leader because he was such a great speaker.
Yeah, very manipulative.
Well, say what you will about the man. He was a fantastic speaker. He was a showman, and he incited people. He got them to do things they otherwise would not have done.
He sparked the mob mentality, that gene in all of us that causes us to act like crazies when we're around a bunch of crazies.
Right. Yeah. So he took control. You may know from history, his first attempt to take over the government didn't go so well. That was the beer house incident.
Got exiled, right? Something like that.
Hitler was an illegal immigrant for years.
That's so funny.
It is funny. You see, Hitler
I never knew that. Thank you.
Well, Hitler, if I could title a movie about this part of his life, I'd call it Hitler House. It would make an excellent title for a horror movie, but the real life location was really serene and beautiful. He had a house in the Bavarian Alps. It was above a town on the border, just in case he had to flee across it, because the German authorities could have shown up at any point and kicked him out of the country.
Wow.
Which would have been problematic because at this point, this was 1925, Hitler renounced his citizenship to Austria. That was his home country. That happened shortly after he was released from prison from the beer hall attempt at a takeover.
Yeah.
So he got out of prison and basically thought that he was too good for Austria. He was going to upgrade and become a full-fledged German citizen. And Germany, they proved that the first reaction is usually the best one. They turned him down.
That's good.
So Germany denied Hitler citizenship in 1925.
Wow. So
and
that happened within a generally relative span of time of getting citizenship to taking the shit over. That's crazy. Like that.
Well, and that was obviously a problem. He had his eyes set on ruling this country that didn't even want to offer him a green card.
Wow.
So he had this beautiful home. He was becoming a well-known political figure, and he lived on the border in constant fear that he was going to be deported at any moment. He loved all things German, and that was why he renounced his Austrian citizenship. But they didn't want him. He had to get in later on a loophole. When the Nazi party became more powerful, a government official appointed him to some post. I can't remember what it was. And the post automatically carried citizenship.
Oh.
So he only got his citizenship on a loophole.
Yeah.
He didn't come in.
I knew a lot of guys that got their citizenship via military. Well,
he didn't even come in the right way as we hear it. You didn't come in here the right way like my ancestors did on a boat with guns.
Yeah, imagine Trudeau giving up his citizenship, coming down, figuring out a way to get into politics, then he takes over the American government. That's crazy.
Well, they described Hitler. He had one boyhood friend who, he chose to remain anonymous, but
Good for him.
he had said that Hitler was always someone against all odds and at odds with the world. He never took anything lightly. He was pale, sickly, lanky youth, usually shy, usually reticent, but he could also fly into sudden burst of hysterical anger against anybody that disagreed with him.
Wow. Narcissistic sociopath.
No, now we just call them internet trolls.
Yeah, and then the only reason why there's internet trolls is because this is, to us, this is all relatively new. Like, I'm talking to you live, recording it from Alabama to California. That's new, you know?
Sure.
Like, in the grand scheme of us humans, all this stuff is new. So the grossest part of us, when there's no one watching, when there's no one judging, and you don't have to worry about any repercussion, you can let the ugliest part of you fucking go lash out on all over the internet. That's
Sure,
what Hitler did at his speeches.
Well, he doesn't get he gets merely a cameo in my book. He's mentioned in a throwaway line because he never came to power in my book. There were just people, a person, I should say, the Reich ruler was just so much more, he was so powerful. He demanded, Hitler that is, demanded that the people make a choice. He said, you follow him or you follow me. And in my mind, the Reich ruler just kind of punted him off a cliff somewhere.
Yeah.
So we've got much worse than Hitler in the novel comics. The first volume, Outbreak Mutiny, is due out in April. We've heard the trailers. They'll be available on the novelcomics.com on Wednesday. You can check me out at jsandlinwriter.com for future appearances as well.
Yeah.
And pay attention for the artwork. I'll definitely tweet that to you.
Oh, yeah. I'll put it out.
The pencil sketches will be on Friday. As long as I, sign off on those, I'll be posting those. Not sure about the finished product. I've also got a children's book that's going to be coming out in April.
Okay. Explain, please.
Explain. Well, I was taking my son to school one day. His school is called River Hill. Mm-hmm. And he said he was scared to go to school because of the big bad wolf being there.
What? Is that their mascot?
Yeah. No, just the traditional big bad wolf that you would hear about in the stories.
Is that based on River Hill?
No, it was just based on him not wanting to go to school that day.
Oh.
3-year-olds, they start early.
Yeah.
So I go to my office and I sit down. I had a while before work started. I sat down and wrote a story called The Little Bad Wolf of River Hill School.
Ooh.
And it's gone through some drafts since then. Now I'm calling it Little Wolfie of River Hill School. You can hear the reading of it for Read Across America Week last week. I read it for the school at the assembly, mm-hmm. and the children are going to make the artwork.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll get them involved. We'll start selling it. You can see it on jsandlinwriter.com. And the first batch, the proceeds all go to his school.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You'll hear the reading. Hope you like it. It's about 21 pages, so it's not very long, but it's for every kid that was maybe sad, different, or just felt like they didn't have any friends at school.
You wrote it for me?
Sure. If the wolf fits, then wear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go, you got anything on current events that you want to talk about?
Current events. Well, no, I don't. My mind has been in the past. I've been in my alternate history with superheroes, and I've been in the regular history while I'm at the University of North Alabama. We are working in partnership with an oral history monograph that I'm hoping gets released next year. based on a series of interviews I did with a veteran who unfortunately passed away just 2 weeks after the interviews concluded.
Oh, that sucks. Respect.
Let's talk about that more the next time I come chat with you.
Yeah.
It's a great story. His life's incredible. It helped me actually with some of the fictional universe aspects, like the Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
The Los Alamos nuclear town as well. He lived there.
Wow.
That was a completely private town where you would have all the, comforts of an American town, but it was completely in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We need to talk about that. My show.
We will talk about
heavy.
that.
My show's very heavy with veterans. I'm a veteran. I've had B-Rob on. B-Rob from Random Ramblings with Rob. He's a veteran.
Oh, well, I'm going to be on Rob's show later this month.
Yep, he's a vet. And then my buddy Terry that's on my show is a reoccurring guest. He's a vet. A lot of people. And then I had my buddy Chris Sully. He's actually got a court case on Wednesday to actually get the guy. So my buddy went to war. He had a Purple Heart. He went to 2 wars. Came back. He was having a coming home party. And he got shot in the back here in San Bernardino. Paralyzed now from the chest down. And, I did an interview with him, Wounded Warrior. It's kind of hard to I had to really do a lot of editing to the episode because he uses a stylus with his mouth, to do everything. And so, but yeah, I'm very, very heavy on that. I feel like, veterans deserve to be heard and to talk to, hear the story.
Well, what's going on right now is he has one more living relative or living sibling rather.
Uh-huh.
University of North Alabama, I've applied for a grant, and we're going to see about flying me to Texarkana for one last series of interviews, and then doing the transcripts and writing the book. So hopefully that will be my 3rd book this year.
That will be awesome. Dude, knocking out 3 books in 1 year, that seems like a lot.
Hey, even if it comes out next year, we'll definitely be working on it a lot this year. So I will. We'll talk more about that next time. That sounds great. In the meantime, check me out on Twitter at @JSandlinWriter. The trailers we've heard are available at thenovelcomics.com. And you can hear my podcast appearances all month. They'll be listed at jsandlinwriter.com.
And I will have those on the show notes. So while everybody's listening, if you want to look at it, you go to the show notes. Everything's there. All right, Jay, I really appreciate you calling in, giving me your time to talk.
This worked out great.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I love your concept for your book, dude. I do. I really do.
Pay attention. It's coming soon.
Definitely. All right. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, all the podcasting apps. Hit the subscribe button, the favorite button, the whatever button. Leave me a comment, review. Tell me what's up with that. I mean, no one ever does. Because I know I don't. But anyways, the ones that do, I fucking love you. All right? All right, you guys. Bye.